All right, good afternoon, everybody. David Bernard coming to you from at home once again for a brief update. And if you were with us this morning, you saw that we had a tropical depression, but it looked pretty likely like this was going to become a storm. And indeed, as of late this morning, it was upgraded to Tropical Storm Michael. The movement is 0 right now, and that means it's not moving, but that's expected to be temporary. The maximum winds right now are at 40 miles per hour. Let's kind of roll through the latest forecast track from the National Hurricane Center, and that does call for gradual strengthening overnight tonight and tomorrow to a 50 mile per hour storm, and then close to a hurricane by Tuesday morning, and then expect it to be a Category 1 on Wednesday morning at least. There are indications from some computer guidance that Michael might try to strengthen more significantly in the next 24 to 48 hours. So right now, the cone, a couple things to point out, obviously does not include us, and we're on the western side of the impact from this potential hurricane. So that means if this holds true, little to any impacts are going to be expected in Southeast Louisiana, or for that matter, even on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We don't want to see this track obviously shift further back toward the west. The trend has been for it to shift farther to the east and away from us. So that's the good news right now regarding Michael. And then it's going to rapidly move into the Carolinas on Thursday, unfortunately bringing some heavy rains to those folks still recovering from Florence. Hopefully the rain doesn't last that long. Tropical storm warnings in effect for the Cozumel area, also for the western tip of Cuba, just to the west of Havana, not quite including that city. Here's a satellite picture this afternoon, and there is the developing Michael. It looks on the last satellite image that some of those deep purples that you see in there, that those have actually decreased some, and so we look for those to sustain themselves in a more organized fashion if we have a rapidly developing system, which it does not look like we have right now. Hurricane hunters are heading in there, and we should know more this afternoon. Now that's where the center of the storm is, based on the Hurricane Center, but there may be a mid-level center trying to develop a little farther to the south and east. This is very common with these kind of lopsided developing systems, but it's possible the center might reform farther to the east. That could have a significant impact on the future track. That's why computer models are, sketchy early on when you have a developing system, because until you know exactly where that center is, you can't necessarily exactly place where the storm might go. Nevertheless, the latest guidance is based on where we think the center is now. And notice that most of the tracks take this into the western Florida Panhandle. And the Hurricane Center, their track is this red line right here. So they're kind of on the eastern edge of some of these models over in this direction. But this could change drastically if that center does firm farther to the east. And until we get the hurricane hunters in there, we're really not going to know. Water temperature is plenty warm. And so if Michael is going to rapidly intensify, that is definitely one of the factors that is going in its favor. And then other than that, it's the wind shear we got to watch. There's still a lot of wind shear around this. Where we see these purples, that's unfavorable. But what may happen as we go down the road is that the higher shear may be shifting into the western Gulf of Mexico, and that means Michael might be moving parallel to the highest wind shear. Anytime that happens, that can actually mean potentially slightly better conditions as far as the storm goes. And let's see, let me kind of show you where I'm talking about right here, this purple area. So it's off to the west of the storm, and that may mean things aren't quite as bad for Michael as otherwise they might be. So that's the wind shear situation. We know we've got the water temperatures, which shouldn't be a factor. What's going to steer the storm? And two things, the blocking high, and we've been talking about that. The blocking high that's over here in the western Atlantic. And then, of course, we also have the cold front that's going to bring us some fall weather finally by the end of the week. And so this is on Wednesday, and it looks like there should be enough flow ahead of this front to deflect the storm away from us and farther back toward the east. Rainfall-wise, if the storm does take that easterly course, almost all the rain is going to be away from us over the Florida Panhandle. Not much rain at all is indicated across Southeast Louisiana for the next 7 days. These red areas, which is 2 to 5 inches of rain, that's over the Panhandle and into the southeastern United States. Here's where we typically expect the storms to form in October, and it's happening right where you would expect it. And the track is usually toward Florida, almost unheard of, into Texas, very rare, and we're kind of the cutoff for any storms in October, particularly the first 10 to 15 days of the month when we are somewhat on the vulnerable side. So again, Michael has become a storm this afternoon in the Gulf. We're going to keep you updated on it. But again, right now, the good news is that we don't have any immediate threat, it looks like, to our area, but we are going to monitor it. Keep it here on Fox 8 for the latest.